know, I think the first thing about boundaries and trust is to realize that it's an ongoing process. In any relationship, every single relationship is built on trust. And what helps keep trust in place, or what can cause you to lose trust, is by not having boundaries, crossing a boundary, and just really not being able to navigate life's situation. You know, several of the things that we often talk about or walk through is, what are some of the things, how are we going to handle situations with the opposite sex in the workplace? How are we going to handle situations on social media? How are we going to handle situations with just general everyday things? What are the boundaries that we've set in place? And predetermining those things before you get into a situation where you've crossed over the boundaries. You want to speak to that a little bit?
I think some of the things we've done is that when we're on social media, we are in messages with people, we're always including their spouse, whether it's talking with them, but we'll tag their spouse in conversations, just so that everything's open. And with lunches, you know, we don't do lunches with the opposite sex alone as much as we can. We always try to have a third party, or however that can look. And we just always try to make sure, whether you've had a fail in your marriage or not, but to respect. I heard something that said your husband should not make you jealous of other women, but should make every other woman jealous of you. And I just thought that was wonderful, that if you are uplifting your spouse and you are building them up and encouraging them when you're with other people, that it just creates an environment where you're creating that boundary with others, whether your spouse is there or not. So
yeah, and to be proactive about it, and once again, as a leader of the home, as a spiritual leader, as a father, as a husband, it's my job to set the demarcation line. Okay, here's where we live. Here's where I live as a man. Here's where we live as a couple. Here's where we live as a family. And if you don't make those intentional choices, if we don't make intentional choices to set boundaries, you'll end up in a place you don't want to go. The Bible says sin will take you somewhere you never wanted to go, further than you ever wanted to go. And why is it? Because we don't predetermine that this is where it stops. And the other thing I like to say about that is, our society is not conducive to setting boundaries in marriages and relationship. It's just kind of like, oh, everybody's on social media, everybody does it, everybody goes to lunch, everybody does that. It doesn't have to be so for us. And through our life and some of the things that God's brought us through in life, we've decided we're going to be proactive in setting boundaries in all the situations to protect and grow and foster trust in our marriage. So,
and never give up.
Never give up.